I found out my wife of 33 years was cheating on me for the last year of our marriage with two other guys. Well, where do I start? I have never been on a forum, and I don't want anyone to know what is going on in my marriage just yet. We have never really had any issues. At least I didn't see any. I am 54, and my wife is the same age. We had kids early in our marriage, and our kids have successful careers on their own. My son is an air traffic controller, and my daughter owns a couple of flower shops. Me, I retired from the military at 39, and now I am a government contractor, and that's what I have done since leaving the military. When our kids left the house, there was a slight shift in my wife's behavior. Not drastic, but enough for me to raise questions in my head. You know what? I didn't say anything, just kept observing. But the good thing was, our sex life didn't fall off a cliff like so many others have experienced. Well, here is where things started to take a turn. I was scheduled to go out of town for a job on a Friday. I wouldn't be back until Sunday. My wife took me to the airport. She was in a good mood. She was talkative like she had always been on any other trip I took. To my surprise, that was the last time I talked to my wife until I got back home. That has never happened before. While I was gone, I called her, sent her texts, tried to FaceTime her. Nothing. When she came to pick me up from the airport, she was very apologetic. She was sorry for not taking my calls or answering my texts. She told me she was worried about her mom. Her mom fell and she had to take her to the hospital, and when they released her, she had to take care of her. But here is the thing. Why not tell me that over the phone or through a text? It didn't sit right with me. It just didn't. I didn't make a big stink about it. The only thing I said to her was, "You could have told me that. I would have been understanding." She came back with, "I didn't want to bother you with it." Now, I am thinking to myself, that's my mother-in-law. Why would you not want to inform me? Well, fast forward a few days, and I am home. My wife is at work. I took the day off because I had some days on the books. So I am working on my old Chevy I have in the garage, and a screw slipped out of my hand as I was getting ready to put it on the car. It rolled under our big storage rack we have in the garage. As I kneeled to get it, as I am looking for the screw, I suddenly noticed a pair of shoes pushed way back under the rack. I took a broom and pushed them out. As I looked inside the shoes, there was a condom wrapper sticking out of one of the shoes. My heart started beating fast right away, and I had to sit down. I knew it wasn't my son's. He's married and lives about 12 hours away in Virginia. I kept everything to myself. When my wife came home, I didn't say anything to her about what I found, but what I did do was take a photo of it and put the shoes back where I found them. The following morning, I go to work, and my wife went to work. She is a branch manager for a bank. Well, when I get home, the first place I go to is the garage and look under the rack, and guess what? The shoes are gone. So that told me that my wife was up to something. I didn't want to think along those lines, but that's the only conclusion I could come to. We are the only two people who live in the house. My wife usually gets home around 6:30, but she isn't home yet. In the meantime, I wanted to look at the phone bill and see what was going on the days I was gone. Well, to my surprise, the time she said she was busy with mom because she fell, she was talking to someone. At least that's what the phone bill showed. My wife didn't get home until almost 9. I didn't say anything to her about anything. When she came in, she was looking for me. She found me in the home office watching TV. We chatted about her day, and I told her about mine, all while fuming inside, but I had to do it like that. I didn't want her to know anything until I could get to the bottom of it. Fast forward about a month, and both of our kids come to visit for the weekend, my son and his wife, and my daughter. My daughter and my son's wife hang out with my wife most of the weekend. My son and I went fishing and watched most of the football games the entire weekend. Well, we had a conversation while we were watching the game between the Cowboys and the Panthers. My son says to me, "Dad, are you and Mom okay?" I looked at him and asked him, why would he ask that? He said that when my wife and I were around each other, I didn't seem like my normal jolly self, joking around with his mom. I lied and told him I was a little stressed out at work this past week, and he left it at that. He didn't ask me any other questions. Well, everyone left late that Sunday night. Fast forward to Tuesday evening, when I got off work, I walked over to the mailbox, got the mail, and noticed there was a ticket in the mail. Apparently, my wife got a ticket for running a red light, but that was not the kicker. At the time of the ticket, she should have been at work, inside her bank, as it occurred early afternoon. So, after seeing that, I immediately go look at the phone logs again, and sure enough, there was a number that she contacted frequently, the same number while I was away. She also contacted this person the same day. The cameras caught her running that red light. There was also another number she contacted frequently, not as much as the first one, but neither number was in my contacts. For a whole day, I contemplated on what I should do. I couldn't confront my wife with what I had found. She would just say I am overreacting or I had no basis. I did some research and hired a private investigator to follow my wife. The private investigator did not find anything for the first week, but according to the phone bill, she was texting up a storm, even while she was at work. The bombshell came at the start of the second week on a Monday morning when the private investigator followed my wife to work, but she didn't go to work. He said my wife went to a department store parking lot, sat in her car for a few minutes. Then this car pulled up next to hers. A guy got out, got into her car, and they started kissing. Then my wife gave him an envelope. The guy left after that. But wait, she wasn't done. He followed her to a subdivision. Here is where it gets nerve-wracking. The private investigator almost got made. He told me that my wife kept looking out of her side view mirror. He said it looked as if she was looking to see if she was being followed. So he had to back way off and rely on his camera. The private investigator found out that my wife was cheating with two men. He had photos and videos of her with these two men at their residence. Sometimes she would not go to work for a few days at a time and hang out with these men. He had photos of her naked with one of her APs in his pool. In the meantime, she was coming home to me, but I didn't touch her. After the private investigator prepared his last report, I filed for divorce. Even after filing for divorce, my wife still didn't know anything. But the huge surprise came 2 weeks after I filed for divorce. My wife told me she wanted to separate. You know what my response was? I simply said, okay. Now, keep in mind, we still lived in the same house. After she said she wanted to separate, by now, she is sleeping in the guest room. We go on like that for another 3 weeks. She gets served divorce papers at her job. She sent me a text afterwards saying she got the papers and that was it. But what I did next, people will criticize me for. The moment she signed those papers, I uploaded all the evidence the private investigator compiled to my Google Drive. I sent links to my daughter and my son. I told both of them I filed for divorce from their mother because she was cheating on me. They both took it hard. That's when the other side of my wife I never knew existed came out. She was saying all these nasty things about me, and she threatened me with violence. When she threatened me, I simply left the house and moved into a hotel until the divorce was final. She was upset that I controlled the narrative before she could. My soon-to-be ex-wife hired a lawyer, and she was going after everything. She figured after 33 years of marriage, she was going to clean me out. But what she didn't count on was the private investigator's footage and report. You should have seen her face. She had no idea I had footage of her cheating on me. The judge denied her claim for alimony. Her infidelity nullified that. She does not get alimony. As a bank manager, her salary was pretty good. The judge gave her 40% of the equity when the house is sold. I didn't care about the equity. After the divorce hearing, I saw my ex-wife one more time, and that was at the closing of the house when we sold it. My kids don't talk to their mom, and that was their decision. It's been a year since the divorce was final. My son and daughter tell me their mom has moved away and hasn't contacted them, and they haven't contacted her. I have since bought another house, big enough for my kids to come visit when they want. I want to say to Tony, thank you for allowing us to share stories on your channel. Men, all I want to say is, if you are thinking about getting married, think again. Remember, I was married for 33 years, and this woman was a total stranger toward the end. It's been over a year, and she hasn't even reached out to her children.